Welcome to Diabetes Every Day. I'm Toby. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll always give you credible guidance about managing diabetes. So, the keto diet is the thing lately, and because it's a low carb thing and followers tend to show improved glucose control, it seems to be a natural fit for diabetes, right? And you'll see claims to that effect everywhere. Reverse diabetes. So let's talk about the keto diet. Full disclosure, I'm a registered dietitian, certified diabetes care and education specialist, which gives me a strong foundation in the science, anatomy, and physiology, plus an added bonus as a person living with diabetes. Make that successfully living with diabetes. To understand this diet, you have to start by accepting this biological fact. Humans are built to get our fuel from the glucose we get by eating carbohydrate foods. That can be a frustrating idea for people with diabetes since we have issues keeping glucose in balance. But it is true. Glucose from carbohydrates is our preferred source of energy. Got that? Okay. A good thing is that we have an emergency backup system. When necessary, we can use protein or fat to make fuel. This emergency plan is the anti-starvation plan, using stored fat and protein, even protein from muscle, to avoid starvation. When fat is the emergency fuel, our body produces substances called ketones to substitute for glucose. And when these ketones become our major source of energy, we are in a state called ketosis. Of course, that's where the word keto comes from, ketosis. The keto diet is forcing our body into the emergency plan that uses fat as the fuel source by strictly limiting carbohydrates and protein in the diet and eating lots of fat. Emergency plans of any sort tend to have some issues. That's why emergency plans are never actually the main plan, right? Ketosis, our emergency anti-starvation plan, has some issues too. The most serious is a slight risk for ketoacidosis, where the blood becomes acidic enough to damage organs or even be deadly. Keto dieters also report brain fog, a lousy feeling they call keto flu, nausea, fatigue, diarrhea, and in ketosis your breath will smell like, well, nail polish remover, the ketone acetone. Supposedly these symptoms pass, but only if you remain in ketosis. Eat a little too much protein or too many carbohydrates and you can start all over again. The diet itself is extraordinarily restrictive. Some plans suggesting only 5% of calories coming from carbohydrates and 80% of calories from fat. So on a 2,000 calorie per day diet, that's 25 grams of carbohydrate or one banana. Most people find ultra-restrictive diets difficult to sustain over time. And many health professionals are concerned about the missed nutrients, so plentiful in fruits, whole grains, beans, lentils, and vegetables, as well as long-term health effects. Some studies show that very low carbohydrate diets are associated with higher death risk from heart disease and cancer. Bottom line for me, limiting carbs to some extent and spreading them over your meals and snacks may help you control blood glucose more effectively. In fact, individualizing the carbohydrate portion of a healthy diet is a legitimate medical standard of care for diabetes. But deliberately putting yourself into ketosis, a state of metabolic emergency with all of the other risks already associated with diabetes, find another way. At some point, you might even consider working with a professional registered dietitian nutritionist. But if it's just the thrill and challenge of ultra-restrictive fad diets you enjoy, wait for the next one. It won't be long.